Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports show for February 14th. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric and I am the man behind Etoft21sports. We have a phenomenal show lined up for you today. And of course, I was a bad host and I did not get Gino's horse racing bet of the day all lined up because I was too busy sweating out Providence, which got a huge
Risen Star coming up this weekend. Kentucky Derby points on the line. It's very rare that you will hear me or see me give out a horse that's probably going to be the favorite in a short price, but I really, really like this horse quite a bit. I've been waiting for him to show back up, and I think Victory Formation is a legitimate contender for the Kentucky Derby and the big races. He's going to be drawn to the outside in the Risen Star. If he is anything 2-1 or above, I think he catches a good field. I think he is the one to beat. Distance shouldn't be a problem for him. I love Victory Formation as we dive into the daily racing form past performances. Big races coming up this weekend at the fairgrounds. Victory Formation is the one to watch, and this will hopefully be a stepping stone for him to bigger and better. Following this race, if he were to win, they could sort of pick whichever of the final Kentucky Derby prep races they would like to go, and this would get him the needed points to be in the starting gate that first Saturday in May.
Make sure to lock that in. God damn, I am very unprofessional. I apologize for that. Jim and I were sweating out Providence bet. We started talking, and I forgot to load up Gino's bet. So that is my fault. Make sure to lock that in. Also, make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B. I am on his podcast every single week talking NFL, and now we're going to transition to college basketball and the NBA. And yes, I have to admit, Bobby, I am a rookie, and I need to show some class. I apologize to you, my friend. Now, without further ado, let's welcome the man, the myth, the legend, XFL Jim to the show. Jimbo, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great. Loving life at the moment. I have a routine built into my week now. Since Grand Island opened up their casino, I've been going to the casino every Friday to kind of like cap off my week. It's been and now last week they just started the horse races, so now I get to see live horses too.
So my buddy Dan, Coach Dan, if you will, him and I had this thing like after NFL shut down, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we would go to Rivers Casino at like 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And I mean, the old timers that we would be shooting craps with, phenomenal. Absolutely, positively phenomenal. The old timers that we'd be playing craps with. I absolutely loved it, dude. Won some money, got some stories, and these old timers had some tales, man.
I was telling Chase that I went to, so this is the first races they're doing on the year at Fauner Park, and I was there in between race 5 and 6. I was outside waiting because I only had a pick in race 6, and I saw a guy between the two races go through a whole pack of cigarettes.
Not all heroes wear capes.
It was something to behold.
You know what? Not all heroes wear capes, man. I mean that's a gamer right there. That's a gamer, dude. Someone were they Marlboro Reds? Were they hard packs, soft packs? What was he?
I think they were Pall Malls.
Okay.
That's someone who's locked in.
That's someone that understands the game right there. That's someone that gets it. So with the NFL shutting down, basically the show is going to start transitioning over to college basketball and to NBA. But in this episode, we're going to look back at the Super Bowl. Jim and I are going to give our takes. We're going to tell you some early NFL futures that we're liking, and we're going to tell you some bets for the Wednesday college basketball slate. So it's an absolutely loaded show today. Before we jump into everything, we obviously have to talk about commercials. And Jim, you're going to be proud of me. I watched the game with the sound on.
Did you watch it with people?
One of my old friends who I haven't seen in a while, he sent me a message. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing for the game?" I was like, just watching it and going to be live betting drive outcomes because that's what I like to do in those playoff games because that's just what I do. He goes, "Mind if I swing by?" He goes, "I'll bring Corona, limes, and pizza." I said, "Sounds good." So I was social. I had one person there, granted, I think they're getting annoyed with me because I was saying everything that was going to play out. And yeah.
I didn't really do a party. I was just in the garage with my pop. Just me and my dad, couple of his friends. And one guy left after like the first quarter, thankfully, because he talked the entire quarter.
Really?
Yeah, he just would not stop talking.
See,
Like about it was like about the game, and he'd be like, "Well, I don't care much about the NFL, but this," or he'd talk about like, "Well, this guy's this." It wasn't even about the game half the time. I was like, "No, well, I want to watch the game."
Yeah, just let me watch the game, man. Let me watch the game. Before that, first thing we need to touch on is the Super Bowl show, the Super Bowl halftime show. What were your thoughts? Did you like it? How did it compare?
Liked it. It wasn't as good as last year, but I mean, it's Rihanna. She was pregnant. The theatrics weren't as great as the last couple Super Bowl halftime shows, but she came out, she played the hits, and damn it, she's got bangers.
I'll tell you what. I was a little disappointed. This may shock you. My two favorite Rihanna songs are Shut Up and Drive and Unfaithful. Didn't make the cut list. I was a little disappointed.
Shut Up and Drive is such a good song.
Little disappointed. And then I will say this. I am petrified of heights. And that part where they showed she was going up and they showed her on the stage and it was wobbling, I was like, dude, I'd be shitting my pants if I was Rihanna right now. Oh my, I am petrified of heights. And she was effing up there, dude.
She was up there.
I would have been petrified.
Uncle Rico doesn't do heights, huh?
No, Uncle Rico hates heights. When Uncle Rico, I hate flying too because this may shock you, Jim. I'm a little bit of a control freak and I don't trust people. So I don't trust the pilot.
Extremely shocking to me.
I know, extremely shocking. I need an aisle seat because I can't be looking out of the window because I'll get petrified. I took my mom to New York City for her 70th birthday. We went on top of the Empire State Building. I was shaking. I was so scared, dude.
So here's my tip for you on flights.
Yeah.
Like 4 aspirin and like 3 shooters of Tito's. You'll be out.
Well, I'm a big guy. Give me 6.
Okay. Take 6. Takes whatever it takes. You get blackout drunk and you'll be fine.
Favorite commercial?
Favorite commercial? Man, there wasn't a lot that really struck out to me as memorable. My favorite was probably the flag football one.
Yeah, that was a solid one.
That was fun. That was funny. It was engaging, and it was like action packed. That was a good one.
I like the one where it acted like someone turned the TV.
The Tubi commercial.
Yeah, and I even was like looking for my remote. I thought I was sitting on it.
So did we, because like everyone's using apps nowadays. It's all streaming. So we were using YouTube. We were watching the game on YouTube TV, and we were just like, "What happened? What's going on?" And then there's a Tubi commercial, which is very funny because I do this movie review show as well, and the last like 3 movies we've watched have been on Tubi.
Yeah, so I mean, like I was petrified. I was like looking all over for the remote. It got me. Least favorite.
There's a lot to choose from for least favorite. Probably the Blue Moon commercial.
The Blue Moon commercial.
Where it was Coors Light and Miller Lite fighting, and then it ended up being a Blue Moon commercial. I was like, I don't care. Either that or the Dunkin' commercial.
I don't remember that one.
It was Ben Affleck. The theme of Super Bowl commercials this year was like just have a celebrity do something normal. So it was Ben Affleck like working at Dunkin', and then J-Lo pulled up, and it was just stupid.
I don't remember that one. I'll have to look at that one. My least favorite one was the rabbit hole one, where they had people in rabbit costumes going up to people in their cars, pulling them out, and like shoving them down a hole. I thought that was pointless. I hated that one.
I don't remember that one.
I'll send you that one. I'll look up the J-Lo one because Uncle Rico is a huge J-Lo fan. Huge J-Lo fan.
I believe that.
And I do have a J-Lo story I'm going to have to tell you off air too. So moving on, we're going to take our 2 takeaways from the game. Jimbo, first takeaway.
Both offensive lines were fantastic the entire game, I will say. Eagles offensive line, great. And the Chiefs, especially in the second half, that O-line could not be stopped, especially against a dominant defensive line like the Eagles have. I think the Chiefs offensive line really showed out. It's, in my opinion, it's the most important position behind quarterback is your offensive line.
I'm not going to tell the J-Lo story. I totally agree. That goes along with my first takeaway. My first takeaway, Eagles weren't able to create pressure against Mahomes. I thought they were going to be able to do this. I was in the same boat as everybody else. They routinely only brought forward, dropped back in zone, allowed the best quarterback in the league to sit back and pick them apart. We can all talk about how good Mahomes were, the adjustment that the Chiefs coaching staff made, but the Eagles not blitzing, not adjusting, and just dropping back and playing zone, then going to play man once they got inside the 5, inside the 10. I thought that was the difference in the ballgame.
Isn't Mahomes like historically pretty good against the blitz though?
But with his ankle being banged
that's
up,
true. That's true.
I felt you need to get in his face. If you just routine, especially with no one, he really wasn't even under distress.
No, he wasn't.
You know what
Neither
I mean?
quarterback was for a good chunk of it.
And the fact, but I mean, Spagnuolo at least brought some pressure though.
Yeah.
And the Eagles didn't bring any pressure. They brought pressure once, and that's when Maddox completely just sold out against Sky Moore. And Sky Moore just cut back after he was in motion. And speaking of that,
Sky Moore anytime touchdown.
How embarrassing were the field conditions?
Terrible. Apparently they've been working on it for like the last 2 years or something. I saw posts online about this like legendary groundskeeper that's like 90 something that's been doing every Super Bowl, finally retiring. Good riddance. It's time.
I mean, they were spending, I read like $80,000 a day pulling out the grass just so it could get sunlight, and then pushing it back in.
I don't think it's grass in general, because don't the players usually prefer grass?
I thought it was grass. They said it was grass growing locally in Tucson.
No, I know the field was grass, but I don't know if it's like grass in general's fault. Maybe it's something with like grass in domes.
I don't know. It was
terrible.
Was embarrassing though. It was seriously embarrassing how bad it was. Jimbo, yes. Second takeaway.
Second takeaway. Man, Jalen Hurts is legit. He's so good.
Yep.
He's so good.
I mean,
he silenced every doubter. He can run it like crazy. He's got an arm. He's so good. I love Jalen Hurts.
I love Jalen Hurts too. And that's my second takeaway. Can we finally put some respect on this kid's name? I mean, everyone is waiting for this guy to fail, and all he does is just grind. I'm going to go on my Jalen Hurts rant for you. I don't know if you've heard my Jalen Hurts rant.
I just want to say top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm just going
to. You know what? That's my takeaway, buddy. It's like it's like the camera you set up here in my room so you can spy on me is on right now. This guy, his school was nothing. Like a bottom tier school in Texas, gets into the playoffs. I got him to the state championship, I believe his junior year, gets recruited by Lane Kiffin, 4-star recruit. Nick Saban didn't even go to his house on his recruitment. It was all Lane Kiffin. Saban didn't like him because Saban didn't like the mobile quarterback. He goes to Alabama, becomes the first freshman starter in 31 years.
Mm-hmm.
31 years. Leads them to the national championship game. Scores a 30-yard touchdown run to put him ahead. That's the game, Renthrow TD with like 2 seconds left or whatever.
That game was nuts.
Okay. Absolutely bananas. But still, freshman got him to the national championship game. Then what happened? Kiffin leaves to become Florida Atlantic's head coach. Stark comes in. What does Stark and Saban do? They don't like mobile quarterbacks. Who do they bring in? The scrawny, unathletic, left-hander.
Shut the fuck up. Unathletic.
Poor footwork. Can't see over the offensive line. Balls float. Most overrated player in the league. But for some reason, because Saban put the seal of approval on him, everyone thought he was the golden boy and going
I
to be
mean,
the
to be fair, he was like keeping up statistically with Kyler Murray in his Heisman year. So
I know, but when you have like the
I mean,
get it.
He's pretty good, pretty damn good in
So-
college.
So that they bring him in, Hurts is a starter. Hurts gets them to the national championship game. And that national championship game where Tua came in, what's the narrative that everyone talks about? How great Tua was, right?
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, so like, this is the agreement that I have with you on Tua is like everyone says Jalen quote unquote struggled against Georgia, and then they bring Tua in and he balls out. I mean, Tua was fine. He was all right in that game.
He had a completion percentage 58, 111 yards passing. 40 of them came in that overtime touchdown.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't like this splendid game. Now they go with Tua the next year. Hurts could say, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm out. He stays there, honors his commitment, doubles up his class load so he can graduate early and then go to a school that wants him. Sets all the records at Oklahoma.
Not to mention, though, that same year when Tua gets hurt in the SEC championship game and Alabama is down to Georgia, Jalen Hurts comes in and leads them to the victory.
And then they go back to Tua, get boat raced in the freaking national championship.
He was still hurt. He was hurt. It's fine. He was hurt.
But you know what? Hurts would have given him a better chance.
He probably would have. He probably would have.
Then goes to Oklahoma, sets all the records at Oklahoma. Okay. Second round pick by the Eagles. Second round pick. Peterson doesn't even acknowledge him. These offensive linemen, which let's face it, wouldn't probably still be in the league right now. Those guys would probably be out because the Eagles would be doing a rebuild if it wasn't for Jalen Hurts getting him to the Super Bowl. This guy is a winner, and that story should have been told. Last year, I was effing sick about Joe Burrow this, Joe Burrow that, Joe Burrow that. Where is all this love for Jalen Hurts?
I don't get it because
like it's amazing to me. He should have won the MVP. He's a top 5. It's him, Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow. Top 5.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. I would lockstep in agreement there with you.
I mean, this kid gets no love, and it's kind of disturbing. And
it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense why he doesn't get love to me because he's the stereotypical everyone should love him. Like all the coaches and analysts should love him because keeps his head down, works his ass off, and like just he doesn't give up. He's not what a lot of people will put on modern day players of like if they don't get their shot they move on, and they're like quote unquote divas. He's the opposite of that in every regard. I feel like that's probably why you love him because you're a coach. I feel like he's like the perfect coach's player.
He is. He's someone that's not going to complain. He's just going to do work. And he's just going to keep on grinding. And that thing where Sirianni is like giving the middle finger to the refs, he just puts his hand down, just shakes his head. He's the adult in the room, and the way he handled himself.
He might be as old as Sirianni, so
the way he handled himself after the game, and that 2-point conversion play had zero chance to score, but that scored because of him and what he is able to do. I mean, I love this kid. I wish he got more publicity than he did.
And I could Jalen Hurts is a player I could 100% see changing his style when he gets like a little bit older, when he's not able to just run through players as much. He could develop into a pretty good pass. He doesn't have like a huge cannon for an arm, but the dude is accurate as hell.
He dropped a couple dimes to AJ Brown that were absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Now, that's Jim and I's thoughts of the
great game
Super Bowl. Great game. And I'll say this, Travis Kelce, I can't stand anyone that has a VH1 dating reality show to get a girlfriend. You're not. I just don't like you. I'm sorry. That's just me. Maybe I'm that guy. I don't know.
I like Travis Kelce for the most part, but I do want to say I am tired of teams like the Chiefs, and Kelce was the big bet, like the poster for this of no one believed in us.
Yeah, because everyone said they're going what? Everyone had them going 8 and 9.
No one believed in this. Like Travis Kelce's like, no one believed in the Chiefs. I believe they were the second favorite going into this season. It's the same thing. Kirby Smart said the same thing about Georgia. Stop it. Stop it. There is a difference between not believing in you and wanting you to lose because you're like the top of the league.
It's embarrassing. Look, I get it against the Bengals because that kind of was the vibe. The mayor of Cincinnati was like saying like, hey, paternity test to see who Mahomes did. Okay, fine. You know what?
Single out the Bengals.
That, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, if you single out the Bengals for that.
After this one, it's like, dude, come on, man. Come on.
When you win the Super Bowl or win the national championship and you're a favorite, you're the Chiefs. You're on top of the league. You are the best team year in and year out in the league. You don't get to be like little old Chiefs.
No, you can't. He's getting a little annoying. We could talk Kelsey all day. Let's move on to the future aspect. We're going to tell some futures. Tell us where our head is. I have 6 over-unders I'm looking at and 2 Super Bowl futures. Jim, how many futures?
3 Super Bowl futures. I got 3 Super Bowl futures. I kind of took one from each tier.
So let me give my Pythagorean win total thing first, and then we'll go in and we'll alternate Super Bowl futures.
I love it when you talk smart to me.
Now, I'm a math nerd.
Wouldn't have guessed.
I'm big on this. I went 5-1 betting these last years based on the Pythagorean win total. Basically, what it does is it looks at teams that overachieved versus the points scored, points against. The 3 teams versed on points for and points against that are due for regression, the top 4. Now, normally what it is you take points for and then it's points for over points for plus points against times 17 because I played 17 games. That's the formula for me. Now, if it's within 1, either way, the team was, average, didn't really overachieve. If they were -1 and more, they're due for some regression. If they were, if their Pythagorean win total was 8 and they only had 4 wins, that's +4, they're due for some positive regression. The top 3 teams that are due for regression that I'm looking to bet their unders. Top one, obviously the Vikings, 4.52. The next one, the Chiefs, 4.25. And the third one, the Eagles, who just lost both coordinators today, 4.1. Those are the top 3 teams per the Pythagorean theorem, win total theorem, due for regression. Top 3 teams due for regression. Can you guess these teams, my friend?
So are these next ones for positive regression?
Positive regression.
The Jaguars?
No.
Is it any team in the NFC South?
No team in the NFC South.
Okay. Is it the Broncos?
Nope.
I have no idea.
Top team that's due for some positive regression. Top pick in the draft. Tons of over $100 million in cap room. The Bears. The next team, the team that should have won a couple more games, had a couple mistakes that cost them. Season kind of railroaded off, then kind of screwed themselves by winning that last game. The Houston Texans. And the next team, which, you know what? If you just kind of sit back and look at their division and their schedule and the new coaching staff that's going to be coming in, I kind of see it. The Arizona Cardinals. Because you have to remember, Murray's going to be out. Murray's out with a leg injury. So there's a huge quarterback. Maybe Winston goes there. Maybe somebody else who's a free agent. So this win total is going to be insanely, maybe even Baker Mayfield. This win total is going to be very, very low. They got a defensive-minded coach going there. They have some weapons, and they finally got rid of a GM who all he did was draft and trade for wide receivers. So I think this win total is going to be 4.5. I think this team could easily win 5 next year.
So that was going to be my question: is when you get these regressions or positive regressions, do you also take into account of where you feel the number should be?
I do. This is
Okay.
kind of like a blueprint. Obviously, hypothetically, let's say the Bears opens up at 5.5 and it's 5.5 and the over is -160. No way in hell I'm betting that.
No.
This is just a blueprint. I have a spreadsheet. Obviously, you said the Broncos. Broncos are a team that should go over. So are the Raiders. But these are the teams that had the three with the three highest totals.
What do you think about the Raiders without Carr, though? It's interesting.
I'm not a Josh McDaniel guy.
I'm not either. I think as of now, I think still standing, he might be the worst coach in the NFL.
Oh, by far. And I'm going to tell you guys this. You have to look for these patterns in coaching. Now, I don't know what the Colts are going to do. I have no idea what the Colts are going to go. But you look at the Eagles offensive coordinator, whose name I'm obviously spacing on. He was the quarterback coach with the Chargers when Herbert came in there and was really responsible for developing Herbert and getting him going his rookie year. And then he gets hired to go to the Eagles, and he's the one getting a lot of credit for that, for the steps that Hurts has taken. Now, if we see a CJ Stroud, and Jim, I'm telling you, CJ Stroud is the top quarterback on my quarterback board.
It sounds like the owner
goes to the Colts. That's something I'm going to be interested in.
It sounds like the owner wants Young.
What?
Yeah, I've been seeing some rumors that Colts owner wants Bryce Young.
An undersized Alabama quarterback. What could go wrong?
Nothing. It works out 100% of the time. You make the playoffs. You make the playoffs is what happens.
You make the playoffs when you're sitting down because you're too small and always get hurt. But what's your first Super Bowl future, my man?
My first Super Bowl future, I'm starting in the top tier, so I'm going by tiers. Out of the top group, we have basically the Chiefs all the way to the 49ers. Chiefs at 6-1, 49ers 8-1, Bills 750, Bengals 9-1, Eagles 9-1. Out of all that group, I like the Bengals. I like the weapons. Like, they're still a really, really good team. Yeah, you are a Tua hater.
And I own it too.
I respect you for it.
I'm going to start selling t-shirts. I'm going to figure out how to make t-shirts, and I'm going to make a t-shirt that says Tua hater.
I will respect you for it, but I will hate you equally. I'm going to take the Bengals in this group. I think they're bringing back a lot. They don't lose coordinators like the Eagles have. Again, like the Chiefs and Bills they're going to be great no matter what, but the Bengals are right up there. And if I'm getting 9-1, I'll take it.
I absolutely love that. They have a lot of free agents coming up. They have the whole thing with Burrow. They're obviously going to have to re-sign Chase. Joe Mixon's contract is coming up. T. Higgins. Their offensive line, they have Williams is coming up. They're basically, with how they're built, they have to win next year. If they don't win next year, they're going to have to do some stuff in the free agent market. I don't know. We haven't heard anything about the Mixon situation after he allegedly fired a gun or had some sort of police report fired at him with some altercation he had.
Joe Mixon and controversy. What else is new?
I haven't. That story's kind of got buried though. You know what I mean? Like I haven't heard anything from it. Have you?
I haven't either. No. I'm also looking. I might do a Bengals Eagles like exact Super Bowl outcome.
Look at you. My first one now. I'm taking this one because this is a huge price and there's going to be a hedge opportunity. Falcons 75-1. Now hear me out. Panthers, no quarterback, new coach coming in. Tampa Bay, no quarterback, new offensive coordinator, new scheme coming in. Saints losing a ton defensively, no quarterback. God only knows what's going on with Kamara. Kamara, there's that Las Vegas Pro Bowl incident, which
that's still a thing.
That's still a thing. There's been nothing that's become because of that. You have Michael Thomas. There's a lot of stuff going on the Saints, and they're 35-1. Meanwhile, you have the Falcons, who I think Ritter's going to take a step forward. You're going to be getting Kyle Pitts back. Drake London You look at the last when Ritter took over, Drake London was like a top 12 wide receiver with the production he was putting up with Ritter there. You got Algier, that running back. Defense was making improvements all along. If I get the Falcons at 75-1 and they're hosting the playoff game, that's an easy hedge out opportunity. That first round of the playoffs, I'm locked into some profit. I'm gonna take a little nibble.
Especially like that's again, we're assuming that's probably going to be bottom two, if not the worst division in the NFL next year again.
Yeah.
Why not take that? They have just as good of an odds, even if they're terrible. They have the decent odds of just making the playoffs, and they're probably going to host. Yeah. I like it.
That's what I'm here for, Jimbo. That's what I'm here for, Jimbo. Jimbo, future number 2.
Okay, I'm going to my middle tier pick now. So this is kind of like basically the Cowboys, Ravens, all the way up to, I would say, so basically I'm going to go from like plus 1,500 all the way up to like 40-1. Call me a homer. Give me the Dolphins, 30-1. I'd like it better if it was like 35-1, but I don't like the Rams. I really don't like the Packers. I don't really like any other team in this grouping. I hate the Jets at 25-1. It's going to be a tough division, but like the Dolphins were in it for the entire year. Who knows? Give me 30-1 on the Dolphins.
All I got to say is Tua, dude. All I got to say. Is it confirmed that Fangio is going there?
It's not. It's like soft confirmed. There's no hard confirmation.
I think that would be a step up for your defense. I think
so too.
Howard getting a step up there because the thing that makes the Fangio defense go is you need that pass rusher and you need the shutdown corner.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got Chubb. I think Chubb can still get to the quarterback. I think you got a good pass rusher in him. You have Melvin Ingram there still too.
I think we just need to sprinkle a couple like DBs and whatnot in the draft, like a couple DBs, maybe another linebacker. The defense, it needs like a couple pieces. I think the defense can be really solid again. And say what you want about Tua, the offense was still great with him in. It's kind of like a 49ers situation. The 49ers made the fucking Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Garoppolo is a winner though, man. Cool, Kev. What is up, my friend? I'm just not a Tua guy, dude. I'm just not a Tua guy. What would you say if somehow, some way, the Dolphins end up getting like Lamar Jackson? Lamar isn't showing me anything either, dude.
Okay.
Look, okay. Lamar's been in the league for how long?
Was it 4 years? 4 years? 5 years?
And these last 2 years have been insanely injury filled. And in a playoff situation, because of his lack of arm strength, you can take part of the field away. Maybe that has to do with the Ravens having their best wide receiver best receiving option be a tight end. But for them to have the best record in the league and lose what they lose to the Titans that year, you just can't do that. You know what I mean? You just can't do that. Now, Lamar only had Mark Andrews. You have to see him with talent. That is true, but we need to remember Jalen Hurts took, I'm telling you guys, Jalen Hurts is the real thing, man. I really feel that if you put Jalen Hurts on the Ravens would be a better team.
True. But I feel like, I don't know. The Dolphins are a weird situation where I view the offense in a similar vein as the 49ers, where you could slot most quarterbacks back there and you'll have a really good offense.
Okay. Now,
whether or not it'll be good enough to win the Super Bowl, I said it was a homer pick. I still like 30-1. Like if the Dolphins were like where the Jets are at 25-1, I wouldn't like that either. 30-1, I'll take.
I feel with the Jets are priced right now as if Rodgers is going there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Now, my next one, this is the one I like the most, and I'm going to hate myself for saying this. The Cleveland Browns 35-1. Now, hear me out.
Big Deshaun Watson fan, Uncle Rico.
I hate Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson looked better his last 2 games. One of the best offensive lines in the league. One of the best defensive linemen in the league in Myles Garrett. But they need to add some pieces. If they get some guys in the linebacker core, in the secondary, I think they could be heading in the right direction. I've said it on this stream. I've said it on my podcast. I think this is a team that could be a team that moves forward. You have Chubb, you have Cooper, you have Jones, you have Njoku, Watson. I totally agree with Cool Kev. He does need to knock off the rust. But if you just look at him the last 2 games, he was definitely headed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I like this 35-1. Cool Kev. I am Jalen Hurts. You know, I have a man crush on Jalen Hurts. You know, I went through it before. I have a man crush on Jalen Hurts. I absolutely love the guy. But that is right. Maybe he would struggle because
that offensive line isn't the Eagles' offensive line. I think the Eagles' offensive line really, really helps him out.
It does help him out. But like I said before, this guy, there's just something about this guy is just a guy. You know what I mean? Like when you look at everything he's done, he's just someone that just keeps on trucking along. And, you know, they did get to the playoffs the year before. And I'm trying to remember who, you got Jalen Reagor out there. You did have Devontae Smith, though.
Well, I'm of the opinion, like, you could put almost any quarterback behind, like, if you give a quarterback no one really to throw to in a mediocre to meh offensive line, you could be any quarterback and you're not going to look great.
That's true. I agree with that. What is your next and last future, my friend?
First of all, my take on your Browns pick, I don't hate it. Maybe it's just me. I just don't trust Kevin Stefanski in like the big moments. So once they get to the playoffs, I just wouldn't trust him.
I see that.
I'm moving into my final tier. Love your Falcons play. I'm kind of going in that same regard. Going 70-1. I'm going to take the Titans because I feel like now this is purely emotional. So take it with a grain of salt. I feel like now people are disrespecting the Titans. Nobody's thinking of the Titans. That's when they come. That's when the Titans are at their best. When no one is expecting them. Like, people kind of had hype for them last year. This is as low as they're going to get. Give me the Titans. 70-1. They still got Derrick Henry.
Rodgers did buy a house in the Nashville area.
I also just feel like Mike Vrabel's a consistently underrated head coach.
Bears 85-1. Worth the flyer. I would much rather play a Bears. Bears will probably be 3 to 4 to 1 to make the playoffs. I would much rather play that future.
Yes. Maybe a Bears division.
I could see that too. They're going to have an easier path. To go back to your Vrabel thing, Vrabel, I love Vrabel. Like,
I love Mike Vrabel.
I was always a Vrabel guy. Titans just need 2 wide receivers and a quarterback. Yeah, I mean Rodgers bought a house in the Nashville area.
I think they need like 1.5 receivers. I think Bobby Trees could still be a good receiver.
Burks was always hurt. I like their tight end. The tight end they got, whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce because I'll absolutely butcher it.
Yeah, they got Treylon Burks too. I like Treylon Burks. I like Robert Woods. They need like one, like good. They need one good receiver.
And how bad was that draft pick of Malik Willis? The fact that they're rolling out
not great
Joshua Dobbs from the Lions practice squad just shows you how bad a pick Malik Willis is. Now we're going to shift our attention, like I said at the beginning of the show. This is going to shift over to more of a basketball talk until about July, when we'll start diving into division by division like we did last year. We're going to shift to some college basketball. I have 2 bets. Jimbo's got 3 bets.
I got 3.
Jimbo, first bet for tomorrow's college basketball slate.
This is a system play. I see Louisville on the slate. I fade Louisville on the slate. Give me Virginia minus 17.5. I got it at minus 105.
You fade Louisville?
Yeah, they're terrible. They're terrible against the spread, too.
Hey, dude, Uncle Rico is 2-0 this year betting Louisville plus points.
I'm like 6-0 fading them. You and me find the right side.
Willis is the new Jamarcus Russell. I see it.
I mean, he didn't get the hype that Russell got.
Did you hear that story where they gave Russell like something to watch?
Yeah, they gave him film.
Yeah. And I guess like nothing was on the film. And he came back. He's like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, they gave him they gave him like blank VHS tapes.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you want to talk about a guy, man. Jesus, that guy. Unbelievable. So you got Louisville. Do we know what the number is tomorrow, my friend? You have Louisville.
I got University of Virginia minus 17.5.
University of Virginia minus 17.5 for Jim.
Versus Louisville.
My first play. And you know what? I hate both these teams, and I'm going to say it right now. Both these teams are going to be out. They're not going to make it to the Sweet 16. That is my bold prediction for March Madness. I hate Tennessee. I hate Alabama. Rick Barnes is 75% ATS in SEC play coming off back-to-back losses. Now, I mentioned this before on my podcast that comes out on Friday, how we need to start fading Tennessee because teams were shooting 25% per shot quality on wide open threes against Tennessee. Now, we've seen some threes starting to fall in more against Tennessee, so that the regression that was coming has happened. But on the flip side, let's look at Alabama. Teams in the SEC are shooting 21% in threes against Alabama. Tennessee is going to be able to knock down some looks as they're shooting 33% in league play. I think they're going to be able to knock down some threes. Bama's offense basically is shooting threes and driving lots of ISO play. Tennessee is one of the best isolation defenses in the country. I'm seeing Tennessee -2. I locked in Tennessee -2 for Wednesday.
I might play the over in that game coming. I did Eric a favor. I got my college basketball picks in early. Usually it's like a nightly ritual as I do my bets about, like, I would say 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'll put in my college basketball, NBA, NHL, and Japanese basketball picks.
Yes, you heard it right, folks. He did say Japanese.
I'm trying to be a sharp. I'm trying to be a Japanese basketball. I found stats. I found a website that has stats, so I'm very excited about that. But I did a little early research on some basketball lines. My next pick is East Carolina +9 versus Cincinnati. I think this line might be moving down to like 8.5. So I wanted to get it at 9. I like ECU here. I'm not going to dabble on the money line, but I think they can keep it close. I know Cincinnati's kind of hot right now, but give me the Pirates.
You know what? Tennessee just ticked to -2.5. Tennessee just clicked to -2.5. So make sure to lock that in. And every other market's at 3. BetMGM has it at 2.5. So we got to lock.
I'm seeing some threes out there now too.
Jim, are we moving lines right now, my friend? Are we?
We might be. They might be listening live.
Now, my next one, and our boy Chase, the Wolf of Oaklawn, is going to love me for this one. Give me the Hogs. I'm taking the Hogs tomorrow. You have Musselman in his career is 72% ATS after taking a loss. Texas A&M per shot quality is due for some shot regression. Opponents are due for some positive shot regression against them. And the big thing for the Hogs, Nick Smith is coming back. He was back last game, only played about 17 minutes. The ball movement and the chemistry, it was there, but not as crisp as it would be if he had been playing for the whole season. I think that's going to tighten it up. The main thing Texas A&M does is they count a lot on offensive rebounding, offensive putbacks. I think the Hogs are going to be able to keep them off the glass. Give me Arkansas +3 for tomorrow.
I also just like the dumb take for that, for anyone listening that just wants the dumb take, this is the classic Arkansas Musselman thing where they heat up for the tournament.
You just totally shit on like all my stuff I just kind of did, dude.
Well, no, Eric's the smart guy. He's giving you all the good stats. I would do the same pick just for a dumb reason.
Just for a dumb reason?
My dumb reason is that like this is classic Musselman, Arkansas, that they're heating up end of the regular season, coming into the conference and March Madness tournament. You just put the dumb reason, you give the good reason behind it.
Okay. I got you.
We're a team here.
I got you. Do you guys dabble in horse racing? If so, do you have any referrals? Gino earlier in the show gave you a bet to lock in over at the fairgrounds. Huge weekend of racing there on Saturday. Some Kentucky Derby qualifying races there. Also, my Instagram account, Etoft21sports _horse_racing. Give out some bets there. Give out some pick fives. Hit a nice little $24 into it was $12 into $235 in the pick five at Tampa Bay over the weekend. So can't really complain about that. Jimbo, you got one more, my friend?
I got one more, and I'm taking Indiana on the money line versus Northwestern. This is kind of like both these teams are hot right now, but I can't trust Northwestern back to back. This is kind of like a fade them while they're hot. They just beat the number one team in the nation for the first time in program history, I believe. This is as high as Northwestern's going to be. They're probably going to make the tournament. There's like a decent chance they make the tournament. Give me Indiana to swoop in and kind of like take this.
See, the thing is this is I go to a lot of Northwestern games, and anytime there's like a Wisconsin, a Michigan, Indiana, Michigan State, so there's always more away fans there than there are home fans because Northwestern just doesn't have that big of a fan base. So I absolutely love that, my man. I absolutely love that. Cool, Kev. Give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me Gino B on Twitter. Guy is phenomenal. He has podcasts that come out. Make sure to give him a follow. He does way more horse racing than Jim and myself. Also, you can give our boy the Wolf of Oaklawn a follow. Chase does all the New York tracks, and right now he's really focusing on Oaklawn, which is based in Little Rock. Is that right?
It is, I believe.
That is. Look at us. Look at us just knowing stuff. Jim, I would like to thank you, my man, for coming on, talking some NFL, looking back at the Super Bowl, giving some futures, talking some college basketball. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you and everything you have coming on the social media game?
You can find me at XFL Gym everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. YouTube's going to be big. I'm with this guy for Spring Fever coming up this Wednesday. We're going to be previewing this week's slate for the XFL. Talking some futures, talking some lines. We actually got lines out for the XFL people. USFL news, CFL news, all your spring football news. And I'm going to be doing individual team previews coming out. I'm going to release them all Thursday. And then I have my season and week one hype video dropping Friday. This is going to be a busy week. I might not get any sleep for the next, until the CFL's done in November.
So, for those who don't know, Jim, hands down, is the most talented mofo I know, producing videos and everything. And he knows all these I know a ton of college players, collegiate players. This guy shits on me when he talks about these XFL players. So please give him a follow. I'm really looking forward to talking with him tomorrow, diving into these XFL lines and everything. We will be back here next week. Caleb Keller from FanDuel TV is going to come on when we're talking some college basketball. Until next week, boys and girls.